Welcome everybody to this edition of Attention Talk Video. I'm your host, ADHD and Attention Coach, Jeff Copper. Our topic today are ADHD shortcuts. Before we get into the content, I want to make you aware of children and adults with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, better known as CHAD. It's a place where you can go and find evidence-based and evidence-informed information on ADHD. Just go to www.chadd.org. So, I don't know, it was a couple of years ago, I was doing an interview with Dr. Russell Barkley. And in the conversation, he actually had a quote that I thought was profound. He said, Jeff, a lot of what you and I do are convincing people to take ADHD seriously. And when I did the interview with him, it resonated with me, but it wasn't until I guess 6 months ago that I was reflecting back on some things as I was preparing some ebooks that quote really stood out. And it's interesting to me because I really do. I spend a lot of time trying to convince people to understand ADHD and own it. And I just said two really key words. One is to understand ADHD. Owning it is something completely different. There's a lot of people out there who read tips, tricks, and strategies and stuff like that, and they know all that stuff, but they still have the same problem because they don't really own it. They keep focusing on what they think they should do, and they don't focus on what they actually do. I'll give you an example of that. When I started my business, writing is hard for me. I accepted it. I'm not even going to try to write. So I started Attention Talk Radio and then came Attention Talk Video because it's easier for me to talk. So I accepted what I could do and I owned my situation, and I did it that way as opposed to beating myself up, trying to continue to write. So which brings me to the topic today, and that are ADHD shortcuts, because we all love shortcuts. And the message really is simple. I've been coaching people with ADHD for 14 years. I've interviewed lots of experts. I've had a lot of people. There are some people with ADHD that are high functioning, and they're just missing a small little thing that can help them become aware of themselves. But by and large, the shortcut to managing ADHD is the long cut. Think about that. If you're watching this video and you read a bunch of books and you had a lot of tips and the strategies or tips aren't working for you, what do you think about that? Not working for you. You've been looking for the shortcuts. I don't know if they're working. Maybe you should take the long cut. That is actually understand your ADHD and own it. And there's a real emotional issue that happens with people with ADHD, because when you become self-aware, you actually have to confront your thoughts, your feelings, and beliefs. That can feel kind of threatening. And that's where a lot of people with ADHD resist doing anything about their ADD because they don't want to confront that stuff. It's kind of counterintuitive because it's a little threatening to you when you look in the mirror and see yourself, but it's a relieving once you accept yourself and you go forward. It was a huge relief for me when I let go of trying to write and just said, I'm going to just do Attention Talk Radio and Attention Talk Video. Made a name for myself doing that. So it's actually really kind of exciting. And so my message to you, my simple insight is, if you keep looking for the shortcuts, you're taking the long cut. And if you take the long cut, you actually might find that to be the shortcut. I hope this is giving you a pause to think, really think. Oh, one last comment. I've said this before, and I read a book one time on how to play the guitar, and can you believe it? I picked it up and I couldn't play it. Go figure. That's the difference between the acquisition of knowledge and the execution of knowledge. That's why you have coaches. That's why you have tutors. That's why you have therapists. It's really to kind of help you execute that. So the DIY doesn't always work. Again, I'm not trying to sell you anything, but I'm just trying to say, if you keep looking for those shortcuts, you're actually taking the long cut. Think about it. Please subscribe to our channel if you're new. We release a tip every week on a regular basis, and comments. Always love comments. It gives me feedback on what you guys like, but also gives me really great other show ideas. So with that, we hope you've enjoyed this episode. Take care.